straight in. The first talking point, Isolt, that I want to bring is one that uh, is an interesting one. Vince
Yes.
McMahon. Or McMahon, sorry, Vince McMahon. I mean, a huge situation. And this is not the first time he's had issues with misconduct. In '92, he was, of course, accused of rape by a former valet, a former wrestler valet from WWE or WF at the time. So he's 76 years of age. He settled for 2.4 million pounds, about 3 million, just over $3 million, with a former employee over an alleged affair. Now, the last little while, he was stepping back, and the criticism was of his replacement, and that was Stephanie McMahon. And nobody was speaking about what was going on in the background. And all these insiders like Jim Cornette and so on, they were slamming the whole situation and basically picking on Steph McMahon, saying she's not good enough and so on. And the announcement was on Friday. It says that the board of directors announced that a special committee of the board is conducting an investigation into alleged misconduct by Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, head of talent relations. So this is big because I mean this man. I mean, let's not pull our punches here. The third generation. He's from a family of sporting entrepreneurs. They have done amazing work in wrestling. I mean, I think like what he has produced and what he's made wrestling become is amazing. But this does not bode well for Vince.
And the timing, oh my God. So, if for anyone who's interested in litigation cases, he has a huge case coming up with his football franchise at the moment, where essentially they have an unfair dismissal case where they fired a coach, but they waited a certain period of time before firing him, and they're all countersuing each other. It's worth millions. That's literally getting ready to run on the back of their football franchise, and now you have this happening. This is like, I don't want to say, again, it's alleged misconduct, but I don't know how many times you pay nearly $3 million for an allegation you don't think may have some potential substance or the risk of embarrassing you and your organization. What I find strange about this is that it's firstly that 3 million is pocket change for Vince McMahon. There's also the fact that while he's saying he's going to cooperate with the investigation, surely any settlement would have been subject to an NDA. Like, it's very unusual for a non-disclosure agreement not to be part of any settlement, as we've discussed with Deshaun Watson last week.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a standard procedure. The issue here, I suppose, as well, is Stephanie had stepped into, his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, had been in that position and acting up for a while. Vince came back when she's been on the board of directors for some time. Her husband, who was the former wrestler Triple H, had some form of cardiac related surgery during the year. She
That's right.
was
Yeah.
dealing with that. And then obviously now she's back at the helm. And you kind of wonder how much in the background, considering directors presumably at a minimum were aware of this, how much in the background has she been dealing with while they're all aware of why she's in that position, which makes it a bit worse to have that like level of abuse coming out and kind of lack of faith in her judgment. The other issue here is, again, like, if there's an investigation, you know, they're doing it for a reason. Vince McMahon has literally transformed the way we view sport. The impact of how he has turned wrestling into the product it is can be seen in so many other sports. When you go to a boxing event now, it's the easiest comparable, but you see the full, like, everything is theatrics, everything is about the build-up. You see it in other sports coming across the board. When you go to the likes of a football match in the UK, so much more is about the light show, the fan experience. All of that does not come from anything else. Fan experience and how you feel like you're part of the night, that everything like that, it comes from a mixture of NFL and wrestling has become this product that is just globally huge. Tyson Fury
Yeah.
actually had his little foray into wrestling, need we forget, but it's at this stage of his career and at this stage of his life, I suppose, perhaps a larger payment, an NDA, and this not being publicized should have been the way he was going. And I find it very strange that there's an investigation. And I think perhaps it's also the culture now that even with someone being paid off and may not potentially want to deal with the investigation, because if she's subject to an NDA, she couldn't deal with the investigation or risk the payment. But we've got to a stage now where things become public irrespective, even if the person isn't cooperating with an investigation, they'll have an investigation into a payment, etc. And that's more and more common in these kind of cases, where you don't have someone actually turning up and saying to a group of people, here's what I'm alleging happened. They're looking into the background circumstances. And I think it would also be very important where payment came from.
Again, this is a man, he's like, you know, we see in the streets, over $1 billion. As Isla said, he's transformed wrestling from, you do not understand what wrestling was like before. He's completely changed it. And right now, how he has, you know, from the old XFL league, the one that like failed many years ago. There's a great documentary film on 30 for 30 on it, and how he transformed it with the help of, I can do that from Dick Ebersol, and how he transformed it, and all these, the Sky Cam came in from XFL. All these things came in from XFL that we take for granted today. So everything we see the teams walking out and fireworks going off. You saw not long with a lower league match. That's WWE. There's no two ways about it. I remember when I was boxing and I walked up to the ring or to the ropes after winning the second round. I fought back and I stood the ropes and everyone was jumping and cheering, and I hit the ropes like this. That was Ultimate Warrior, where he would grab the ropes and shake the ropes. And I knew what happened in my brain, because I was like grabbing like that. So it's affected so much of our life. And but I think at this stage, I think this could be the end of Vince. As we saw the picture of his daughter's 45, Stephanie, when she came in, son Shane as well. Terrific family, but I think this could be the end of the road for Vince McMahon.